Hello and welcome to the Metropolitan Elites, in our awful lefty, dirty lefties, lying, obviously, bitter.
Ivory Tower, Lizard Overlords, all that kind of stuff. We're back.
Yeah. Hello. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
For an awful New Year of Tories ruining the world.
We hope you had a very nice winterval. And this is what we've been told to talk about this week.
Yeah, they rung us up and they said this.
Yeah. So there's this obviously BBC bias BBC thing.
Yeah, the BBC's biased BBC.
Yeah.
Both left and right, somehow.
Yeah.
And in this case, this is basically it's the producer of Newsnight, isn't it? And it's, oh no, isn't Newsnight? No.
Daily Politics.
Daily Politics. And
Laura Kuenssberg.
And Andrew Neil.
Yeah.
Have actually conspired to attack Jeremy Corbyn. So it's not biased because the whole media are doing it. So they're supposed to do that, aren't you? So it's, and basically what they've done is they've got an MP to resign on air. Yeah, which is just a natural, normal thing. He just happened to decide while he was on air and not planned at all. It's just ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing, yeah. I mean, let's. So what happened was this guy, this relatively unknown MP. I don't think he's been an MP for very long. It's not a reflection on his ability or anything like that. To be clear, we're not bullying him.
We're talking about bullying.
He decided that he couldn't serve in Jeremy Corbyn's cabinet as a junior cabinet minister member due to the sacking of Patrick. Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
McLaughlin, is it?
Yeah. He was sacking for causing trouble.
Yeah, basically causing trouble. And he came on to the Daily Politics 5 minutes before PMQs and announced that he cannot serve in the Jeremy cabinet, and he was really concerned about smears on his cabinet colleagues and that he didn't want that to happen. And it seemed like a really big story. It sort of framed PMQs in a completely different light. Apparently David Cameron was aware of this and Jeremy Corbyn wasn't. And obviously it was lauded as a big scoop for the BBC and one in the eye for Corbyn, yet more ways for Jeremy Corbyn. Then it transpired that there was a blog entry by one of the producers of the show saying, explaining how the scoop came about. And so that the idea was floated to Laura Kuenssberg, who got wind that this guy, there was several MPs who were thinking of resigning, and the idea was floated, well, maybe we could get this guy to resign on air. What do you think, Lauren? She chased it up and she asked him, and he was really happy to do it. And so it happened. As soon as that blog post went up and people identified it, it was taken down.
It was taken down.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing wrong,
yeah. Well, the claim is now by the guy who did it, he thought it was for an internal blog for training purposes.
What?
And then it wasn't meant for public consumption, which is why it was taken down. But unfortunately, this thing got cached.
That's even worse, isn't it?
People noticed and said, hang on, this is surely this is against the BBC's remit, because they are conspiring to manipulate events to give the story more prominence and, in their own words, give it more political impact.
Yeah, to push politics in a particular direction.
Yeah.
Literally.
And the timing, is obviously significant. The Corbynistas, as they've been derogatorily called now, obviously got a little bit upset by this and started petitioning the BBC and complaining, and apparently there was a Twitter onslaught to the BBC, and the BBC have denied any wrongdoing. Following this, Seamus Milne, apparently, Jeremy's press advisor, wrote a letter of complaint to BBC. He actually formally complained on behalf of the Labour Party that this, that they've really overstepped the bounds of what they should be doing as a national broadcaster, paid by a company, and the BBC have. And it seems the whole Westminster bubble have kicked back at this. You sort of like Gabby Hinsliff. The first tweet she made in the morning was, "I just seem to have 80% of my tweets are from people having a go at Laura Kuenssberg and stuff like that." And this is such a non-story. The BBC have gone out and got a story. What's so wrong with that? The Westminster bubble really don't see an issue with this, whereas there are a big proportion of the population, the electorate, who do see a problem with this.
And it's like I said, Twitter, and obviously people say stupid things on Twitter, but it is the biggest democratic voice in history. And if the people are saying this is a big thing, this is a story, people in Westminster are saying no, it isn't. It's not a story. No, it isn't. Shut up.
We decide what the stories are, not you.
Yeah, well, that's literally what you said, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know what your opinion. I mean, has the BBC been biased in this particular instance?
Well, it's not the BBC, is it? It's like 3 individuals in the BBC have been biased. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been painted this guy, this completely nondescript MP who suddenly got himself a bit of a platform. This is probably the bigger story. We've got MPs in the Parliamentary Labour Party disparaging wide portions of the Labour Party members.
Yeah, that's
saying that they're like birthers in America. Now, if you don't know what that is, that was the big conspiracy theory about Obama not actually being born in America.
Yeah.
And they were convinced that they need to get hold of his birth certificate.
Well, Donald Trump was a big birther.
Yeah, Donald Trump was a big birther. And he's compared them to the birthers. Now, actually, you'll find that a big proportion of these so-called hard left activists are big defenders of the BBC.
Yeah.
And the claim is, in this particular instance, they have not shown good judgment.
Yeah, it's bad judgment, it was a bad news day. It was what they did was wrong.
And it is. And the BBC and this MP Doherty have sort of reframed the argument as if we're saying that the BBC is constantly biased, and he sort of made a comment about lizards that, you know.
Yeah, is it the lizards? It's brilliant.
No, the accusation is in this particular instance the BBC went beyond their limits, and it does feel like a wider sort of attitude within the Westminster bubble that they can treat the Jeremy Corbyn supporters and Labour supporters with disdain because for some reason, I don't know, they're not part of that established
club.
Yeah, they're not part of the club.
And actually, I mean, the BBC, we did this. Yeah, if you want to watch our BBC analysis, because nobody else did. Whilst we find, you can say, well, today they were biased and they were biased against Jeremy Corbyn. You probably usually are. You can switch to BBC Three and watch Russell Howard slagging off Donald Trump. Is that biased as well? So you can find things and say, well, he's slagging off him, he's having a go at him. But it's individuals, isn't it? And these are the people running the news.
Yeah.
And the people running what's supposed to be the serious political discussion, not the Mickey Mouse tabloidy stuff.
Yeah.
The serious political discussion, actively framing the news that they wanted to go.
I mean, it seems, I don't think it's controversial to say that the role of Laura Kuenssberg and other BBC reporters is to report the news, not to manipulate events and create the news. I mean, no one's suggesting that this guy hadn't decided to resign, and yet that's what the rebut is. Oh, this guy had already decided to resign, the BBC had made no issue. No one's saying that.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
Saying
you've waited until... Yeah.
You've manipulated the events for great political impact. Well, I mean, if he decided to do that would have been great if he was scheduled to come on the programme, and yeah, okay, you would have got massive political impact, but that would have been fortunate that the events came together in that scenario. But in this situation, they've actually gone out of their way to make the events occur in a certain pattern, to have more political impact and to have more drama. In their words, I mean, this is the producers' words, and for the BBC to just dismiss it out of hand.
Yeah, so no, we didn't.
Okay.
But what are they going to do? I mean, if the rest of the media are doing the same thing, it's not not the BBC being different to everyone else.
It's
so they say, well, look, everyone else is doing it.